became a little hard with the books. When I'm making a script, it's 93 pages to 95. So that means over 200 pages has to come out of the book. So what we've been doing lately, we still use the same Christian writers to do it, but instead of having to take out something that might be very touching to them, what we do is we write the script first, and then I give it to the writers to write the 300 pages.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Braided Faith podcast. I am so excited to have another amazing guest on here. Her name is Chevonne, and pronounce your last name for me.
O'Shaughnessy.
Ooh, I love that. Such a classy name. I love it.
Thank you.
I am so excited to have Chevonne on here, you guys. I'm not going to read her full bio, but it will be in the show notes. So that way y'all can just see all the amazing things that she's been up to, that she is up to. But I am going to do a little bit of an introduction before we get into talking and chatting. Chevonne is the co-founder and president of American Cinema Inspires. She has dedicated her career to producing films that inspire and promote strong moral values. Her mission is to produce entertainment that enriches lives and upholds the values cherished by Christian communities. So welcome, Chevonne. I'm so honored to have you speaking with me on the Braided Faith podcast. I love what
you're as well.
Well, thank you again. So again, I didn't read her full bio, but you guys go check it out in the show notes when you're done listening. So I just want to dive right in. I love that you produce Christian films, a gal after my own heart. And a lot of the women that listen to the Braided Faith podcast are moms. So I think this is going to be a great show for just mamas to listen in on. So I want to start off with asking you, American Cinema Inspires has a strong portfolio of Christian and wholesome movies. What draws you to produce films in this genre?
Well, I can say when I first got in the business, I was doing in action, and I was the crash, boom, bam. And in a way, I was just sent in to start learning the business, because when I first got in, I didn't know anything about the film industry at all. I had studied international business, so all of a sudden God had wanted me in this direction of selling movies and producing. So I was taking those years to learn. But during that time, I was so busy that I wasn't really paying attention to what my daughter was watching television, because I was working and she's watching the Disney Channel. And I'm thinking to myself, well, it's Disney. I grew up on Disney. Disney's great. And then when I had the time to sit down and really look at what she was watching, it really shook me, because I just thought the innuendos in it, the messaging in it, I didn't think was empowering to women, for starters. And then after doing my action titles for 10 years, I was like, well, if I have a voice now and I know how to sell these movies and I can make a difference, why don't I start looking for this different kind of product? Now, I had been in my little box. I had done action, like I said. So God has a way of doing things. And in our action movies, when we were doing for over 10, 11 years, we would put $1 in and we'd automatically get $3 back on every film. It was like a rotation. Things were just going really, really well. Well, right before I had said that, we had made 4 movies. It was in 2000 or 1999, between 1999 and 2000. And it was the strike was about to happen. And we thought we were the only ones that were going to have movies. And we were making 4 movies all at the same time. 2 in Brazil, 1 in Canada, 1 in Romania, all kind of action movies. And all of a sudden the strike didn't happen back in 2000, but the advertising money went away and our slots went away. So all of a sudden, my partner and I were fighting because we could hardly make that $1 back.
Wow.
You know, it had been a formula. We just knew it. And all of a sudden, some people probably go to drink, but I went to a Bible study class with a friend of mine, and she invited me to come. And I'm Catholic, so I don't usually go to Bible study classes. So this was with a different group. And I met Cindy Bond when I was there. It was at Cindy Bond's house. And Cindy Bond had just finished a movie called The 10 Commandments. It was an animation, and it had the faces of Alfred Molina, Ben Kingsley, and Christian Slater. Again, I was the action queen, so this was like something totally different. And she kept coming to me, and she goes, Chevonne, will you please sell my movie internationally? And I looked at her and I go, I do Crash Boom Bam. I don't do this. Oh, please, please. I've had bad experiences with other distributors. I'd really like if you would take our movie. And I said, okay, well, let me go to my partner and tell him what we're going to do. So I went to him and I said, we have a booth. We're at the market. We have like 14 different panels for posters. I said, we'll use one poster for our this movie, and we'll put Christian Slater, Alpha Molino, Ben Kingsley on the top, and we'll put the animation 10 Commandments below it. It can't hurt us. So he goes, okay. So I went to the market, international market, because Cindy had the United States. She had sold that already. So I'm selling the rest of the world. And I ended up selling the whole world.
Wow.
All the countries in the world, except one. And the funny part, it was the one I thought was going to be my first country. And that one country was Israel.
Wow.
And what they said to me is, we already know the story, which basically was they didn't want a Christian person telling them their story. But Turkey for Ramadan, Middle East, China, Japan that has anime, which is one of the famous animations. They took it. India, China, Singapore, Taiwan, Thailand, Eastern Bloc territories, Russia. I mean, amazing. Everywhere in the world, we had sold that movie.
Wow.
So I said to Cindy, we cannot just go to a market with one movie and then show up again till the next year. I mean, if we're going to be and do this kind of product, we have to have at least 6 to 10 movies a year so that the distributors, when they come, they know that it's going to have this kind of product for them to be able to sell yearly. So we formed a company called Mission Pictures, and we had grown up to about 75 different faith-based movies, and a lot of them were Pureflixes before Pureflix was selling international themselves. But at that time, we were selling it. We had Letters to God. We had To Save a Life. We had like Dandelion Dust, 7 Days in Utopia. And all these people had never seen the international market or knew what the international market was like. So we were the first ones selling their type of movies. And had even created a night in South Africa for a mission night where they took 52 of our titles, and every Sunday at 8 o'clock at night, a mission film was aired.
That's
And we got the
awesome.
same thing in Mexico. Mexico also did the same thing. They gave us in Televisa. Now, Mexico, and we're talking 2007, 2008, it was horror. It was, all animals or whatever. Everything was really dark. And these two girls in Televisa, Mexico, risked it and took another 52 titles and started a night there as well. So it was amazing.
Wow. So is that basically the same company as American Cinema Inspires?
Well, no, that was Cindy and I, which I was still the salesperson of it.
Gotcha.
And it was part of our company brand. However, Cindy and I, because Cindy wanted to become more of a converter. I, on the other hand, found that the international market was more willing to accept these type of films as long as you put a seed planter. And the reason I say that is the television is your majority of your monies. And if you open a Bible and you start quoting scripture, that means the television channels won't take it because you're promoting one religion over another. So that won't do. So I wanted it to be more of a line of it, but then be based on books that would be more religious. So you could do both. So I wanted to be more of a seed planter. So Cindy and I are working still together, but we split ways at that time. And I started American Cinema Inspires.
Awesome. So a lot of your movies, are those on Pureflix?
No, most of my movies are on ACI On The Go, which is our YouTube channel.
Oh, okay.
And
awesome.
They're on Tubi. They're on all the platforms right now. We also have them in Spanish, and we have them in Portuguese.
Awesome. And we will definitely have the links to those in the show notes for people to take a look at some of those movies. Have you done any more animation?
Oh, that was Cindy's. That was Cindy's movie. And we were planning on to, but we have tried to pre-sell some, but it became more difficult. It was not the rights. It was more the finding the right animation company to do another one.
Awesome. Could you discuss a few of the Christian films you've produced and what makes them connect with audiences?
Well, as I said, I have made over 150 titles. And I thought with my expertise in distribution and doing marketing, that the United States companies and televisions would automatically be accepting me into their arms and make movies for them. And I remember going to Hallmark to pitch them an idea or bring them a script. And the Hallmark people are looking at me going, okay, what are you bringing to my channel that's new? And I'm looking going, well, I have a script. And she goes, no, I need you to bring me something more than what I can already get myself. So you have to have something that you're bringing to the channel that is more, because we have a lot of producers ourselves, Chevonne. You have to do something yourself. And I'm thinking to myself, me? I'm not Hallmark. You're Hallmark. I'm just a producer. And I walked out of that meeting totally disillusioned, going, what am I going to do? So I sat back and I thought, and I said, the best thing I could probably do to bring something new to Hallmark is probably books. And God guided me, and I found a series of books with Guidepost. Do you know Guidepost?
No, I don't.
They are like a Reader's Digest, I would say, for the
Oh, okay.
faith-based
I
community.
do know who that is. Yes.
When you used to go to the doctor's office or the dentist, you see the little magazine. Well, they had a series of books called Love Finds You.
No.
And the Love Finds You, there's 50 of them. They're all different stories, but they're stationed in every state of the union. So I was lucky enough to go there. The books, all 50 of them, are really female oriented. They start with a girl whose life has something devastating happen, a family member died, or a husband died, or she lost her job, and then she doesn't know what she's doing. She's kind of fumbling, and the books kind of guide you to get back to community, find yourself, and find love, and become the best version of yourself. So each of the 50 books were that. So
Awesome.
I was very excited, and they did a newsletter monthly to 5 million people. So I was
Wow.
like, check. They're contained, they're female, they don't have too many locations. So I went back into Hallmark. I had my chest up high, look, I got these books. They got 5 million. I'm bringing you some new subscribers. Check. And they still said no to me.
What?
They
No.
did. They still said no. So all of a sudden I go, the competitor, I go to Up TV, which prior to that was the gospel music channel. I don't know if you ever
Okay.
heard of it.
I think
The
I
Up TV
have.
market. So TV was about 50-year-old because Hallmark was 50 and above, and their market was 50 and above. And I go into TV and I show them I got 5 million. These are the books. They're very contained. The books are very religious, but the movie will be more mainstream. And they said yes.
Yes.
So I got my first one. So I was so excited to be finally let into the channels in the United States. And the first one we did was called Love Finds You in Sugar Creek.
Okay, that
Yeah.
sounds familiar. I bet I've seen that. That sounds like a familiar movie to me.
So I had Kelly McGillis in it. And it was an Amish movie. It was one of her first movies that she did after The Witness. And Jocelyn McLaughlin. And it was, again, it was very emotional for us. The writer was very engaged in it. We went and shot in Sugar Creek, and I had sent the script to the town of Sugar Creek, and they were all excited. So it was a real nice community, and we made the movie. We're in post, and now all of a sudden Up TV calls me and they say, Chevonne, we just had a meeting internally, and we're trying to now hit not the 50-year-olds like we've been doing. We want to go to the 25 to 45-year-old women. And I'm thinking to myself, 25 to 45, that's not your market. That's not who's been supporting your channel. It's been 50 and above. And the Guidepost books are 50 and above too. So 25 to 45-year-old women? And that's what they said. Well, at 50-year-old, you're already set with your toothpaste and the detergent you use. We want to get the newer generation to get them new toothpaste and new detergent. So that's why we're directing at that. And again, I'm sitting there going,
No.
okay, I have 50 books. I only did one. If this doesn't go well, how am I going to make the other 49 of these books? So I'm sitting on the plane going to one of the markets. And I'm kind of like lost, going, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? How do I get to the 25 to 45-year-olds? It's an Amish story. So a voice in my head said, what's the title of your movie, Chevonne? I'm going, Love Find You. And the voice said, use all the dating sites. It's love. So go to I went to Match.com. I went to JDate. I went to Christian Mingle. I went to every single dating site you could think of, because at that time you could put for free your sleeves of your movie and the trailer could be up there. So if a woman who's young, 22 or 21, is looking for a date, you opened up and you saw the trailer and the artwork for the movie. So
Nice.
plus we had done a lot of the marketing on the other ways through the Christian bookstores, the mom bloggers, the magazines, everybody helping out to advertise it. So we felt really good. We said, oh my gosh, we called the channel. We said, we think we're going to do 2 million views on this one. We've really been doing a lot of promotion. And the owner of the channel starts laughing. He said, Chevonne, let me tell you, the highest rated movie for our channel to date has been Passion of the Christ on Easter. Jesus, were his words. I mean, how do you answer that? You're like, oh, okay. No, I'm not probably going to be Jesus then. We aired and we did 7.4 million views.
Wow. Wow.
And I did 1.5 of the 25 to 45-year-old new customers that they wanted.
There you go. Look at God work.
So,
How do you bring your faith into, because as I'm listening to you, I mean, you sound like a savvy businesswoman, you know what you're doing, but you're explaining sometimes those things, life comes against us, I guess you could say, especially in the business world. How do you
Yeah.
bring your faith into those moments?
I think that faith comes really strong is when you kind of stop directing the wheel. It's when I think I know more instead of listening to prayer or somebody, the voice in my head saying, Chevonne, do it this way, and it goes better. You know, when I sit there and say, oh, this is what we have to do, and it's only going to go this way, that's when I get told, Chevonne, you're totally wrong, and I'm going to show you instead of listening. Because when I listen, it's even better than I could even have imagined. And when I
Yes.
follow his lead, it goes a lot better.
That's awesome. Do you get, I don't know how much access you have to, say, the fans or the viewers, but I would imagine that there are lots of lives changed with these films. I mean, there are films, especially if they're created for that moral and, just that stance. Do you personally hear of those stories of where people have been changed or their faith has grown?
I have heard that a lot of my movies well, I'll put it this way. A lot of the foreign buyers never even heard of Sugar Creek and the Amish community. And when they saw the Sugar Creek Amish movie, they started making tours and they had to come down and see all these Amish people
Nice.
because it was the first time on it. And they started teaching them about their faiths also. But also, it's just, I have a lot of men coming up and saying, I watch these movies with my family and it gives us our quiet time together. I don't know if I would say it's too much of the conversion, but it's just really well time spent of family together because I think a lot of us have lost that. It's finding that one thing that we can all enjoy and just talk about afterwards. Instead
Yes.
of going to our rooms, each one and watch one show and this one watch this. It's a bonding thing. That's what I want to do.
I love that. I love that. What advice would you give to Christians looking to enter the entertainment industry today?
The biggest advice I would give is know who your client is. Who are you planning on selling? And again, the same thing. Can you get to that customer? So when we did the Love Find You in Sugar Creek, I knew that we could at least get to 5 million people because of the Guidepost. How are you going to the individual customers? And then who are you selling to? And I'll give another example. After I did so well with that movie, now Hallmark's calling me. Can you give me can you give me an Amish movie? Can you give me an Amish movie? So I send them an Amish script, and they're not calling me. It's crickets. And I'm going, wait a minute. I did 3 of these and they did so a number and you kept calling me. And then all of a sudden I said, okay, I got to do something. Let me start watching Hallmark 24/7. And a script is usually about 95 pages, which means a minute a page. Okay. And it's a formula. You have to have this happen by this page, this happen by this page, even though, yes, it is artistic and so forth, but there's a formula to it. And I got the formula, I got this, I got the other. So why aren't they calling me? What's the problem? And then as I was watching, I figured out what it was. Their main advertiser was Petco, and I didn't have an animal in my script.
What?
Yeah. So all of a sudden, I added a scene where they found a stray, they bring it home, they feed the dog, then they bring it to the pound, and they call me. And why didn't you just call me and tell me? I mean, I sent you the script. If that was all it was. They said, no. If you want to work for our channel or work to do producing, you better know what we want. We shouldn't have to be the one to tell you. So it's the same thing if you're going to be a producer. If you're going to produce something, know upside down everything about that customer that you're going to be applying for and what they want.
So is that movie on Hallmark right now?
Yeah. It's called Uncommon Grace, but it was a while back. So, but it's still out there. I think it's on their Hallmark now that they have as well. So it's called Uncommon Grace.
Okay.
And it was the first one that we did for them.
I'm gonna have to go watch that. Awesome. And I never noticed that. I'm gonna have
you'll
to
see
watch
the
out
dog
for that.
scene.
What was that?
And you'll notice the dog scene.
Yes. Well, I'm gonna have to pay attention to that now. I guess there is always an animal on the movies, isn't there? I wonder if that's still their sponsor, Petco. That's funny.
Yes, it is.
It is. Okay. I'm gonna have to pay attention to that now. So I'm not familiar at all with how the movie industry works. So with you producing, what does that entail? Does that entail also writing? I know you said you sent them a script, or do you have writers that, work with you? What is, I guess, the
formula? Okay,
the
I'll tell
formula?
you. So, what we were doing for the longest time were books, I said, but then it became a little hard with the books. Due to the facts, the book is about 300 pages, or could even be more. But as a general, they're about 300 pages. When I'm making a script, it's 93 pages to 95. So that means over 200 pages has to come out of the book.
Wow.
So it's none of my writers were a problem, but you're taking a big chunk of the story out what the writer wanted. So what we've been doing lately, we still use the same Christian writers to do it, but instead of having to take out something that might be very touching to them, what we do is we write the script first, and then I give it to the writers to write the 300 pages.
Okay.
And they're involved in the script development and all that too. But at the same time, they get to do all their research and the things that are touching to them, and we're not fighting with it because of the page count.
Awesome. And how do you determine what books you're going to use? Do you have a certain author or something?
I mean, if you look at all the writers for Guidepost, and even if you look at the Love Find, just not one, and it's a lot of them, and a lot of them are really there. They're wanting to, find something they can do and are willing to work with us. So it makes it fun They have their experience as well. But and Marilee Farrell has been one of the ones that we use from Guidepost for the longest time. So it's different ones as a whole.
Well,
Yeah.
that's got to be, I would think, something exciting if you wrote a book or a story and somebody comes and says, hey, we want to make your story that you put your heart and soul into a movie. That's got to be pretty awesome. So
No, they're all thrilled. But again, it comes down to those, what pages are you going to take out? So they get all,
yes, I can imagine that's probably hard because I mean, obviously most books, they all feed into each
each
scene,
other.
chapter feeds into the other. So that's got to be quite the process of what will be taken out.
It is hard. It is
I
hard.
bet.
But
Yeah.
but also at the same time, I'm lucky enough, not only do I make the movies, I sell them worldwide and I put them on the platform. So I'm always not just talking to the consumer, I'm also talking to my distributors. What are they looking for? So I'm in some way, I'm in a little better situation than most because I kind of know what is the need for right now because things do change. And at the same time, you're also projecting what would be the next for the next year. And my projection, I think for next year's is going to be more Westerns. I think Westerns are going to become a little bit more popular. And I think in the Christian market, at least, and in the female. And I think we're going to have a little more, instead of being so many females, I think we're going to have a lot of more male leading roles that I think they're needing right now.
Well, I'm in West Texas, so if you ever come out make a movie, you should reach out to me. I'd love to meet you.
I'm going to do that for sure. Yeah, I love Texas.
So, how long from start to finish, how long does it take to complete a movie approximately?
Script too,
I guess.
or
Yeah.
after script. So I have the script and then we start production, or are we writing the script as well?
I think when you start production, because when you have the script, sometimes you're sending it out trying to write. So then that kind of can take different time. So I guess from production, start of production to finish.
Okay, I feel between pre-production, production, and post-production, is 4.5 months to 5.
Okay. Okay. Nice. I was expecting a little bit longer, so that's awesome. But I guess there's so much more that comes before production
Yeah.
starts. So awesome. Well, looking forward, what are some of the projects or initiatives that you are most excited about at American Cinema Inspires?
Well, I'm very excited about, as I told you, the first one was the Love Find You in Sugar Creek and the series of the books and the great relationship we've had with Guidepost that we are now starting on their Sugar Creek Amish Mysteries.
Yay.
It's a series of 30 books. It's their #1 best-selling book. They're little quaint, kind of like Murder, She Wrote, little fun mysteries that an Amish woman and an Englisher, so anybody that's not Amish is called an Englisher, solve together mysteries. And of course, the Amish woman has a gorgeous son who's Amish that the Englisher kind of likes. And sometimes the three of them together will solve the mysteries. And they're
Oh
doing in
my
buggies. So it's a lot of fun. And we're starting those in Sugar Creek. So Sugar Creek's excited as well.
Oh,
And
wow.
then we're also doing, and we've been so blessed to be doing a movie on the Mercy ships. Have you heard of the Mercy ships?
I haven't.
They are these big ships in Africa that they come in and they do surgery on children they can't afford and have like diseases that they can't go to a doctor, and these doctors
Yes.
come in and they do. So they are letting us come in and do like a romance of a
Oh,
girl who goes on this ship, and she was living a very privileged life, and her husband adored her, ends up passing away. And in his
aw.
books or his diary, she found out that he had always wanted to donate his time to mercy ships, but he never had because he wanted to keep his wife in the lifestyle that she was living. And she felt so bad, and she was saying things weren't, there was something missing in her life. So
Mhm.
she goes over to the Mercy ships and donates her time there. And of course, we have a a mother with children and the disease that's got to be cured, and she's in the middle of it. So Mercy Ships is
Wow.
letting us use the ships in Sierra Leone to do this movie.
That's amazing. So when does that come out, and when do
Well,
you
these will all be for
like it?
2025.
2025. Okay, even the
25, yeah.
cozy mystery, Amish mysteries.
Yes. Yes.
Awesome. I love that. Oh, thank you for sharing that. That definitely gives us all something to look forward
Think of,
to.
yes.
And do you have anything currently that you're like marketing, or anything that just released, or anything like that?
At the moment, my partner ended up passing away March 10th.
Oh,
So
I'm so
at the,
sorry.
it was a long esophageal cancer. So we're just rebooting the thing up
Mhm.
again on getting all the projects together. But we're all excited. We were there enough to be with him most of the time before he passed. So it's just starting a new thing, and we'll be having everything starting for 2025. So we're very excited
Um,
that you'll be able to see it. But we have all our other movies on ACI on the go on YouTube.
Woo, I'm excited to check those out. And I'm sorry to hear about your loss. We will be keeping you guys in our prayers as you move forward and
Right.
just do some more amazing things, it sounds like.
So much.
So my last question for you is, how do you balance commercial success with maintaining integrity and promoting wholesome content?
I think you're just staying balanced to, everything has an ups and downs, just like somebody going through cancer. It's just realizing that it's your family, your friends, and yes, money is good, but if you don't have your health and your family and your friends, you don't have anything anyhow at the end. So it's really staying with a nice tight group of friends that keep you balanced.
I love that. I love that. And normally I do ask, I asked you that because normally I do ask how do you balance tradition in an national world? And I think that answers that question as well. It's about just really keeping focused on God's blessings no matter what's going on in this world,
That's
because
true.
there's a lot
Like I said,
going on.
there's a lot going. And as when my partner was sick, it was being blessed of the days that were good. You had good days and you had bad days, and the good ones, yay! And you just
Yeah.
enjoyed it more. You just really reflected on how much this was great and how
Mhm.
good God can be.
Amen. I bet going through that with him, really just sharing that season with him, I'm sure grew you and other people that worked with y'all, I'm sure, just in ways where I'm expecting for you guys to be able to move forward with almost of that legacy of him with you. So it's going to be beautiful.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Well, Chevonne, thank you so much for being
Thanks,
a
Crystal.
guest on Braided Faith. Is there anything else that you would like to add or say? If not, we
No,
can
we're
say.
good. Let's say goodbye
Well,
then.
thank you. I appreciate you. And you guys, I'm going to have everything for you, especially how to watch those movies, in our show notes. Bye.
Okay. Bye.